Alright guys, Brian D here from Manila, Philippines, and this lesson is for week 6, Introduction to Music Production at Coursera.org. And today I'm going to demonstrate how modulation is configured in one of Ableton Live's synthesizers, the analog. Okay, so you guys can go ahead and create a MIDI track. Alright, go over to the instrument panel and drag in an analog synthesizer over to the track. And so the analog synthesizer has two synth panels that are very similar. You have the oscillator section, the filter section, right? Amplitude section, the LFO section, and then of course the main output section over here. Okay, and then for the purposes of this demonstration, I will be sharing some techniques of modulation, sound modulation, if you were to design synth or pad sounds. Okay, so if you go over to the amplitude section, you can see the two modulation sections down here at the center console. Mind you, every time you click on a certain section, the center console changes. Okay, so for the amplitude section, you can change the panning of the sound by turning on LFO1 and then giving the panning modulation some amount if you want the sound to pan from left to right. Okay, you can also change the key modulation. So for example, if you want if you were pressing a low pitch key, the sound will come from the left side of the speaker. If you were pressing a high pitched key, the sound will come from the right side of the speaker, just like a piano. Then you can go ahead and give this panning modulation a certain amount. Okay. Another couple of interesting modulations here is the LFO and the key modulation for the level. So if you want the LFO to modulate the level and you want the sound to be pumping or wobbling, alright, you can go ahead and give this a certain amount. If you want the level to change depending on the pitch of the key, so for example, if you pressed a low pitch key, the sound will be softer. If you pressed on a high pitch key, the sound will be louder. And you can go ahead and give this modulation a certain amount. Okay, and for the oscillator section, you can go ahead and also change the pitch of the sound by giving this LFO a certain amount to modulate the pitch. Right? It'll give you a certain type of vibrato to your sound. Okay, but analog also has a built-in vibrato modulation over here at the main output section. You can change the amount and you can change the rate. Over at the center console, you can also change the delay and attack envelope of the vibrato. Alright, so here's an example of a sound that I designed. It's a pad sound using those modulations that I described a while ago. So it sounds something like this. So as you can see and probably hear, hopefully, when I pressed on low pitch keys, the sound was somewhere towards the left, panned towards the left. When I pressed the high pitch key, it was panned somewhere to the right. Okay, and that is possible by adding a bit of LFO and key panning modulation over here at the amplitude section. And the level modulations basically add movement, as the oscillator pitch modulation just adds movement and a bit more realism to the sound that you design. Okay. For the filter, there are similar modulations for the frequency and resonance, but this is usually just edited to taste. Whichever sounds good for you, then those are the kind of modulations you should stick with. Alright, so thank you very much. Hope you guys learned something from today. Later.